a shadowy figure becomes crystal clear and part of the scene. And what dreams they all do have. But when and how did it happen? This decision of thousands to run. We think we know. 20 years ago, Frank Shorter took part in the first marathon to reach every borough, and the word spread of the beautiful things that can happen to you in New York if you dare to take part in Fred's dream. A child watched then and runs now. The New York City Marathon's early years, when just finishing gave way to chasing personal bests. And then two stood out apart. As if to say, catch us if you can. There was Bill Rodgers, joined in time by Grete Waitz. Legends were born in the marathon, and today their greatness is still being chased. It's time again, this first November Sunday, when we think of others who've made a name for themselves, to thrill a city along the way, of one who ran the fastest to beat the clock, and of two Mexicans side by side headed to the line, and of the wrong turn righted by the long arm of the law. Yes, the beat of the times may seem quicker now, but never fast enough to erase what was and what will be. A gateway of dreams for the entire world is what the New York City Marathon has now become. A passport to whatever you want it to be, whatever you think it can make you. And be you from south of the border or a Kenyan tribe, it is for you. They have decided to race and you to watch. So let us take stock of what that means to them, what is ahead for them, and be inspired by them. Make it your journey too. The New York City Marathon is for all.
So it's an exciting weekend in New York.
Yeah, we're riding on a high. The Yankees just won the World Series, and we're excited about that. And we feed off each other. And the marathon will be on Sunday with wonderful weather, 2 million spectators. Who could ask for anything more? There is no other place like New York City. It's the melting pot of the world, and everybody knows that. It's the financial capital of the world. It's the media capital of the world. But more importantly, the people here appreciate excellence at any level. And we've got so many ethnic groups running in the race, as well as in the city proper, that they just come out and there's a synergism that takes place. There's no other marathon in the world that has 2 million people lining the streets. Welcome to New York. Have a wonderful race and enjoy yourselves. To introduce the mayor of the great city of New York, the running capital of the world, the financial capital of the world, the media capital of the world, Rudolph Giuliani.
You can feel the excitement all throughout here for tomorrow morning. It's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. This marathon is one of the great events in New York City. It's one of the events now that truly makes us the capital of the world. People get to see all 5 of our wonderful boroughs. It begins in Staten Island, it ends right here, and all throughout the world, billions of people get to see New York City tomorrow. And all these 30,000 or so people compete. Somebody's going to win, but everybody's going to win who competes tomorrow.
On October 24th, 1976, some 2,000 runners boldly went where no other marathoner had ever been, to the streets of New York City in the first ever 5-borough New York City Marathon. After years of being confined to endless loops of Central Park and obscurity, the marathoners had been let loose to run the city for a day. Their mission? To carry the sport to the people. Runners came from near and far, some famous, most not, to take part and see if this monumental undertaking really could happen.
The first 5-borough race was, I think, as much anticipation to see whether or not it would actually come off and we'd be able to run unimpeded through the 5 boroughs as it was the challenge of the distance.
The first 5-borough marathon was a joint effort by the political and running communities. Former Manhattan Borough President Percy Sutton was the leading voice in endorsing a citywide marathon.
I knew it would work. I knew it would work because I thought for the first time the people who ran in this marathon that had previously been entirely in Central Park would find themselves able to see all of the people, to hear the applause, and that's exactly what happened.
But getting the city to close and paying for it all was a problem.
Fred nixed it. He told him, you know, it cost me $25,000 to put this race on because we need the money. Percy went to Jack Rudin from Rudin Management, and Jack was willing to put the money up if and only if the winner's trophy was named after his father, Samuel Rudin.
And inside the New York Roadrunners Club, longtime members were laying out a course that would touch every corner of the city. There were some oddities with the first course. First Avenue was then off limits to the runners, so they had to plod along the FDR and even up a flight of stairs.
All of a sudden, there's a stairway and a pedestrian overpass, and it's only 2 or 3 people wide. So Bill Rogers has already gone up there, and I'm following him going up there, and I'm thinking to myself, how are they going to get all these thousands of people up this pedestrian stairway?
Somehow they did. Nevertheless, the race turned out to be almost as noteworthy as the scene itself. Bill Rogers outdistanced Shorter and Englishman Chris Stewart to win the first of his 4 New York City marathons in a row.
It was the first urban marathon in the world. We had 2,000 runners then, and that was the biggest field that I had ever run in.
Today, there will be nearly 29,000 runners, but there would be none of this if it weren't for those intrepid pioneers who had bravely set off on their 5-borough journey 20 years ago.
Okay, baby. Bring it on. We're gonna kick butt today. Yeah! Yeah! Go!
Pennsylvania. Woo! Portland, Oregon. Yes. We're going to win.
Now, if you haven't been ready to stretch out a little bit, we got to go to do some of that static stretching for your calves, hamstrings, and quadriceps. We're going to get ready. Last 8, step touch. 4 more. Okay, oh! Here we go, 8 more times. We're warming up now for the mirror, guys. Last 8, 7, 6, 5. We're going to turn left and exit off stage. Thank you very much. We're going to see you at the starting line.
The New York City Marathon touches all 5 of the New York boroughs, beginning in Staten Island and then heading into Brooklyn across the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. All the runners thundering across, 1 mile in and halfway across. In terms of elevation, they'll be at the highest point of the race. It's very crowded on the bridge, and it's not until they get into Brooklyn, on the streets of Brooklyn, that most of the runners can find their natural stride. And then, of course, they'll be picking out landmarks along the way, like the Brooklyn Academy of Music. At the 8-mile mark, the runners who started on the top of the bridge and the runners who started on the bottom of the bridge will merge, and that's a pretty exciting time in the race when it becomes one big line. Okay, then we make that left-hand turn onto Greenpoint and reach the halfway point at the Pulaski Bridge. Hello to Queens. Here we come. Queens, good to see you, where you'll find the Kaufman Astoria Studios making movies in Long Island City. The halfway point is important for both the elite runners and recreational runners, because they'll take a look at how they're pacing for the total race, and then the runners will know soon that they're going to be pounding their way across the 59th Street Bridge. There'll be, of course, a carpeted run across the bridge to help them across, and then the most exciting time for a lot of the runners is they make their way into Manhattan. 4 important words from the bridge: high floor, river view. And then there are a lot of reasons for runners to feel good as they make their way up First Avenue. This is where a lot of runners are met by friends and family members. And then we head up to the Bronx. This is a tough climb up the hill at the Willis Avenue Bridge, mile 20. It's a short turn through a couple of streets in the Bronx, and then back across the Madison Avenue Bridge into Manhattan. Oh, I can almost taste the finish line. How soon can we bet? How soon will we be there? It's a run through the streets of Harlem, and then we make our way back down alongside Fifth Avenue. And this is where you'll enter the park, Fifth Avenue at 102nd Street, mile 23, and of course down Park Drive East. And it is just an unbelievable feeling as you exit along Central Park South, knowing that all those months of hard work, you're making your way up to the finish line, and there you are, hopefully in good shape with great stories to tell.
This is one of the more fun moments of the marathon. It's when everybody who's been waiting in line, and if there's one thing New Yorkers know about, it's waiting in line, they get the go sign, and then they get sort of shepherded by the volunteers slowly but surely to the start line. They don't want any running. They don't want anybody getting hurt in this whole thing.
No, certainly with this amount of people, there is the danger. There are dangers, but over the years, this technique has been refined. There are gaps. There are safety measures. The elite runners come out at the last minute so that people don't get pushed over the starting line. Imagine if you set a world record, but you had been 10 feet in front of the start before the gun went off. So they're very careful here, and I think people realize that there's a possibility for disaster. If someone went down when the gun went off and didn't get up real fast, he could get stepped on.
Tegla Lorupe looking like she's got a little spring in her step as she and the other elite women, the ones that Catherine Switzer was just talking about, make their way up the hill, which was all full of mud last year, but it's nice and crisp on this gorgeous day today. They are making their way to the start line and being put in their elite position in front of the field to, as I said before, preserve the integrity of their race. And there they are, the elite men making their way out of their warm-up compound and doing exactly what the women elite runners did a few moments ago.
The highest point in elevation is about the midway point of the bridge when you are 274 feet above sea level at this point.
Yes, it's all downhill from here.
and we thread your heads. Papa Soul, alias Timber Blues, gonna lay down some riffs to make moving for moving.
Everybody's swinging, dancing to the music, on the radio. So listen, Mr. DJ, keep those records playing, 'cause I'm having such a good time in Brooklyn, New York City. 2, 3, 4, everybody's singing. They're doing that twist now. If you take requests, I got a few for you. Play that one called Soul Twist. Play that one called I Know. Don't forget the mashed potatoes. No other song will go. We're having a party. Everybody's swinging, dancing to the music on the radio. So listen, Mr. DJ, keep those records playing, 'cause I'm having such a good time in Brooklyn, New York City. 'Cause I'm having such a...
Look at how deep they are on First Avenue, coming out of the restaurants, the cafes, and the condominium apartment buildings. There'll be some noise. They're going to make a turn off the bridge and then spin back around and get on First Avenue. Deanna Oliveri of Staten Island wants to know if the route of the New York City Marathon has always been the same. Well, this year, the marathon is celebrating 20 years of all 5 boroughs. Prior to that, it was just laps in Central Park. And since the inception of the 5-borough New York City Marathon, it's been pretty much the same, other than a slight move here or there, mostly because of construction over the years. But this has been the route. And now, if you're on First Avenue, you get pumped up a lot more. You hear the motorcycles, you hear the sirens, the parade of the cycles goes by, then the police car, and just, you know that the marathon is moments away from roaring on by.
Now some of the lead vehicles coming around, and the crowd's just been a little quiet. Now here they come. They are going berserk. The crowd is absolutely alive. It's electric here now.
Number 4 is Espinoza with the hat on. Got to give him a good shot at this point. He's handled the pace up till now, stayed near the front, looks very relaxed. Back in that pack, the people that we mentioned earlier, along with Espinoza, Martin Fies of Spain, Cosmas Ndedi, Moses Tanui, I think maybe a few seconds off the back of that pack. Stefano Baldini of Italy still in there, and it looks like a move's been made. Just as we speak, the field has been spread out by Espinoza.
I don't know how to say uh-oh in the language of the Pokot tribe in Kenya, but you wonder if that's the appropriate phrase. The last mile for Tegla Larupe was at 6:09, which is almost a minute blow-up from the earlier miles that she ran in the race. Catherine Switzer's been following her. Catherine, is she losing her edge?
Oh, this is fabulous. She's right off my shoulder, right here. She's come off the bridge. Everybody on First Avenue has been waiting for her. She passed under the 16-mile banner, grabbed her cup perfectly, and now she's striding out. The trick right now for Tegla is not to get too excited and go too fast, but she's done this twice, and this is the stretch where she's usually won the race. She has great experiences here, and she has great feeling. She knows the course perfectly. I think she's going to judge it really, really well. Running perfectly.
He's got less than a mile to go now to the finish line. You may have seen over a minute ago them pass the 25-mile mark, taking him into the final mile. And it's 385 yards beyond that 26th mile to finish the race. Last mile was 4:44, so no let-up on the pace. He is really churning.
And I think that's the first time he yielded to the temptation to see how far ahead he was. Real champion to be able to do that, just concentrate on what's ahead, 25 years old, and much like the Italians before him, Orlando Pizzolato and Johnny Foley, he comes to New York, not one of the favorites, and pulls what has to be the biggest upset we've seen here in the last 4 or 5 years.
Anuta Katuna has just passed Tegla LaRupe at about the 22-mile point. And Tegla is down in her legs, and really, I think she's in pain. She's utterly exhausted. Look at her eyes are almost closed. She's just hanging on. She's an extremely courageous runner, but Anuta Katuna just blew by her. Let's go back to the men.
There's the view, and look at the changing colors of the trees along Central Park. And there's Central Park South.
We're just coming up to 72nd Street.
Okay, so a few more blocks to go before the emergence onto Central Park South. And you really get the sense that this could be exciting in the last couple of miles with Joyce Chipchumba. You can see in the upper right-hand corner of the screen is in the sights of Anuta Katuna. Right there. That's her with the glasses in the back of the shot.
Al, can you come back to me?
Oh, sure I can,
yeah,
Catherine.
Oh, she's really right on her now. She's digging in, and I don't know if Chipchumba knows she's there, but she's suddenly going to know it. Look at you, and Katuna is really, really powering now. This is the closest race we've ever had like this in Central Park, to have 3 women within 100 yards of each other, and now Katuna pulling up on Chipchumba. Chipchumba looks over her shoulder. She says, "Oh my God, where did she come from?" Let's just watch it play.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Here it goes.
I'll tell you what, Catherine, if the early paces in the miles of Tegla LaRupe was her undoing, well, then you've got to think that
from Chipchumba.
Chipchumba also was victimized by that early pace, and the pass has been made, and Anuta Katuna of Romania has taken the lead in the New York City Marathon.
Thank you.